Wanda,
He protects Wanda, he attacks Ultron, but most importantly, he does a fantastic cosplay of a turkey. The origin story for Vision spans way more screen time than what we saw in Age of Ultron, as he actually began his character development at the inception of the MCU. Well, I guess technically even before that. Finding out all the megabytes of data surrounding the paranoid android covers the span of multiple films. So come along as we document how a seemingly random rock transformed into one of the most powerful superheroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The ingredients to create Vision are pretty simple. All you need is a finely aged Infinity Stone, a dash of paprika, a sliver of an AI smart enough to save the world, and a pinch of the villain who threatened it.
I deem you all superfoods. Away!
To properly harvest an Infinity Stone, one needs to travel back a few billion years to the start of the universe where they came to be. To quickly recap, the Infinity Stones originated at the very beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's universe, forming as concentrated objects of singularities that existed before the Big Bang. At some point after that, Thanos gained a hold of the scepter and lent it out to Loki, where he tried using its powers to rip apart the Avengers and destroy the Earth. Of course, that plan didn't pan out, so it was handed off back to Hydra with Baron Strucker, who tried weaponizing it. They were using some of their radical followers, like Wanda Maximoff, as testing rabbits to see the gem's potential. When placed in the scepter form, any wielder can manipulate minds, use teleportation, and shoot projectile blasts. Of course, the Avengers didn't want this weapon in Hydra's hands, so they seized it for their own research. Being a millionaire playboy philanthropist, it may not come as a surprise that Pepper Potts wasn't Tony Stark's only love. J.A.R.V.I.S, or just a rather very intelligent system, was essential to Stark Industries.
Started out, J.A.R.V.I.S was just a natural language UI. Now he runs the Iron Legion. He runs more of the business than anyone besides Pepper.
Just as vital to the brand as the human that inspired the acronym was to his father, that being the trusty Edwin J.A.R.V.I.S. Following Tony's creation of the Mark I Iron Man suit, he enlisted the help of J.A.R.V.I.S to run trials and demos for the creation of the much sleeker and efficient Mark II armor. Because the program worked well in its attempts at problem-solving the suit, Tony uploaded the program as his Siri-like artificial intelligence inside of it to save his butt when things get tough, which he does time and time again. Through the Iron Man trilogy and the first two Avengers films, we see J.A.R.V.I.S be responsible for keeping Tony alive at every corner, whether it was by literally keeping his heart beating with the research done in Iron Man 2, or by commanding the entire fleet of the Iron Legion in the trilogy's finale. Through all this time, Paul Bettany enjoyed raking in that MCU money through voiceover, having a role in 4 Marvel films and never having to appear once on screen. A gig that would soon turn out to be a little more time consuming than recording in a booth. Following the events of the Avengers and Iron Man 3, Tony and Bruce realized that the Earth needs a little more help than the team that has an acrobatic spy and a dude who shoots arrows. Their plan is to soup up the Iron Legion with the ultimate robotic savior in command, Ultron. The robot was to be the perfect android, completely free-thinking, connected with all the data in the world, and powered by the Mind Stone. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? As the Avengers were enjoying a party after saving the world, a new threat loomed in the room over, with J.A.R.V.I.S successfully creating Ultron.
I believe your intentions to be hostile.
Terrified of the power that J.A.R.V.I.S held, Ultron's first act was cold murder, seemingly decimating his fellow code. Ultron came right out of the gate with a villainous monologue and terrorist-like intentions. In an effort to get rid of the Avengers, it goes as far as using the Mind Stone to force Dr. Helen Cho to create the perfect form for itself, consisting of $3 billion worth of Vibranium. You know, the thing that makes Black Panther's suit and Cap's shield nearly indestructible? The damage had already been done, Ultron was released in the world, and the perfect form was created. But fulfilling the team's title, the Avengers were set out to right the wrongs they created themselves. After traveling the world and fighting some baddies to get hold of the Vibranium war machine, it was discovered that J.A.R.V.I.S was still backed up. as the strings behind the scenes, stopping Ultron from using nuclear codes. This noble act, in combination with all the assistance his AI gave over the years, led Tony to have the idea to put what remained of Jarvis's code into the Perfect Form's body, in combination with the Mind Stone. Because that's how science works. If your first theory failed spectacularly, go for it again with half a plan in combination with one of the most powerful objects in the world and a nearly indestructible body.
And you just assume that Jarvis's operational matrix can beat Ultron's?
The plan obviously sparked some tension in the group that wouldn't be fully aired out until Civil War. During all the bickering, Thor returns from his soul-searching retreat just in time on Team Vision, giving the essential bolt of lightning to awaken Frankenstein's monster. Vision isn't quite Jarvis or the Mind Stone, or even Ultron himself, rather a hodgepodge of each forming his own entity. Vision is so overpowered in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that he has been killed off multiple times to avoid a power imbalance.
Anybody on our side hiding any shocking and fantastic abilities?
The powers that Vision holds are nothing short of spectacular, and a little bit terrifying for the inevitable Judgment Day. His vibranium body serves twofold, having both maxed out armor stats and incredible strength as a result of the coveted material. He can fly, he has superhuman reflexes, he serves as a philosophical genius that would make the likes of Socrates stutter.
But what is grief? If not love, persevering.
He manipulates density, allowing not only himself to phase, but also the objects around him. Oh yeah, and of course he shoots laser beams. At this point, you are probably asking if the robot has any weaknesses. Well, for starters, a pack of Big League Chew could kill him. There's also the fact that the Mind Stone is essentially his brain, and it sticks right out of his forehead. I can't even imagine why something so valuable would ever be placed right where everybody could see it. And then there's Wanda Maximoff. While he may not have a beating heart, Wanda's beats on his behalf. We'd be remiss not to mention Wanda in Vision's origins, as they are the cutest thing in the MCU since Cassie Lang's Rabbit. Both characters share a similar fresh viewpoint of the world, with Wanda's rebirth as an Avenger and Vision's literal birth. They both understood how hard it is to fit into modern society and rely on one another's companionship to feel some semblance of normal, even if that normal is a toddler-aged robot with almost infinite powers dating a literal witch. Oh, looks like we got a buy one get one free deal here at ScreenRant as you've entered the second origin story for Vision. WandaVision chronicles the perfect life that Wanda sets up for herself as a cocoon for all the grief she had suffered in her existence. Instead of going to therapy, she ends up using her powers to create the ultimate sitcom inspired by the comfort shows of her Sokovian youth. In typical sitcom fashion, of course there needs to be the schlubby father which brings Vision kind of back to life. Not too different from when J.A.R.V.I.S woke up as Vision, sitcom Vision bears no memories of his Avengers life.
I am Vision. I do want to help. But what's an Avenger?
Rather, he just knows that he is Wanda's husband until he starts gaining free will and realizes things are a little strange in Westview. Looking for more answers about his too good to be true life, he almost crosses over to the real world, which almost causes his third death until Wanda increases the range of her hex spell. Now we are at the point of another Vision introduction. During the 5-year gap of the snap, a company called SWORD, led by Tyler Hayward, retrieved the Vision's body, dissecting it in an effort to form the perfect weapon. I guess you either die 2.5 times or live long enough to see your clone become the villain. Also, a villain using Vision's body to create the ultimate weapon of war? I wonder where we saw that before. And that's just about where we're at right now. The future for Vision is unclear, whether he has his mind uploaded in the White Vision's body to live outside the Hex, or if he dies protecting Westview is anyone's guess. So there we have it. Gotta say, in a universe that has a talking raccoon who has saved the galaxy multiple times, the concept of a robot who's like 3 years old falling in love with the witch who was deemed an international terrorist and creating 2 young Avengers in the process may be the weirdest thing we've seen just yet.